Hello everyone and thanks for tuning in. This is Straight to the Point Tech. I want to say thank you all for your support. We are closing in on 400 subscribers. I'm currently at 390. If you are new to this channel, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you are aware of what's going on. On this channel, I cover mostly handheld gaming PCs such as the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, the Lenovo Legion Go OG, the Lenovo Legion Go 2, which is upcoming, as well as other many miscellaneous things related to tech. So please stay tuned. Again, leave a like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications so you are aware of what's going on. I appreciate your support. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about the latest MPU driver update for the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. So we're going to get straight into that like right now. All right, so as you all know, there were two updates that dropped right recently. So one towards the end of August, and then one just recently dropped this month, like on September 10th. So let's go over like the changes and what happened and et cetera, right? All right, so we just had an update for the MPU drivers on September 10th on the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. I know a lot of you want to know like what changed, like what happened, like what does it do, what did it do, whatever, right? So basically it is a game-changing update, right? So I've done some tests and you can find this information via Reddit. Actually on your MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, there is a MSI Claw 8 AI Plus Center. You can look in the forums and read. Various users, a lot of the guys are like software engineers and computer engineers, so they know a lot of what's going on and what changes, have been made. They can even go into further depth than I can. So if you do want to know how to access that, before the video ends, I'll show you. But yes, keep in mind that that is where you can go if you want more clear and concise information in regards to any driver updates or any major changes in the MSI Center. All right, so this is a known fact, and this is what I also, have found out, and also what I've tested. This is why I said it's a known fact. So basically, the September 10th update basically is the game-changing update that a lot of us have been waiting for. And again, Intel keeps getting better with these updates. So basically, smoother frame pacing when it comes to games like Cyberpunk, when it comes to games like CSGO, when it comes to games like Black Myth Wukong, when it comes to those AAA titles that usually have a Unreal Engine 5 or are harder to run, they continue to improve on making those games available, to be able to, get the updates in conjunction with, whatever changes they made. So that way you all have the ability to experience, the updates and the upgrades, frame per second, etc., right? Because as long as Intel continues to update these drivers, right, that affect frames per second, that affect, visual fidelity, XeSS, adding that as well, none of these changes make any sense unless the actual developer of the game as well updates their game, their product, so it works together. It's in conjunction with the update. So yeah, but yeah, so without getting too far off topic, so basically with this change, basically September 10th, you get better frame pacing, reduced stuttering, which is always a great thing. A lot of games run more better at consistent frame rates. You get better consistency when it comes to frames per second. And then, also, of course, better battery life. Battery life changes obviously are, inevitable when it comes to the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, unless you get it updated. However, though, the manufacturer can continue to push out updates as well as MSI to continue to have the device run more power efficient, right? By actually, controlling the TDP from a auto perspective in the background. So don't, think that, an update randomly is going to give me extra 20% battery life. That's not always the case, but in most use cases, anything that helps a game run better and use less power, right, you're going to basically get more battery life. So just keep that in mind. Also, the TDP has went from, again, 30 watts back to 37 watts, right? So for some reason, the last August update and the update before, they pretty much control the TDP slider to the point where basically you couldn't control it yourself to go surpass 30 watts. It can only go to 30 watts. It stopped there. When before, back in July and before that, you can, max out your TDP at 37, right? And that was just basically to help you, again, run your device more power efficient, so you wouldn't worry about battery life running out quickly and faster. But a lot of users have reported they would rather be able to control their max TDP. So I'm guessing they gave that ability back to you. So yeah, that's that as far as that goes. And yes, keep in mind, when I talk about the TDP slider, we're done talking about the NPU driver updates. I'm actually talking about the slider in the MSI center, which is actually here. Let me show you so you don't get confused. So we hit this check mark right here. All right. So do you see where it says 30 watts PL1 and then 37 PL2 right there? So you're able to adjust that and maximize that. So I just wanted you all to just know and have a visual glimpse of what I was talking about. Now, another thing that has changed is the thermal fan curve adjustments in the BIOS. So, you can control the thermal fan curve in the BIOS. Just make sure you know what you're doing. But, basically, that's pretty much it as far as that goes. And then I can't forget better NPU integration. So the update for September also improved the AI offload stability. So background tasks upscaling. So again, just more efficiency. Again, not going to give you like, oh my God, the greatest battery life they've improved. No, but if you are more efficient at running tasks in the background, via AI and stuff like that, then you're going to have better battery life on your device, which means you get more juice when it comes to FPS, because your GPU, right, doesn't have to work as hard, and mainly your CPU, because everything in the background is working as it should. So yes, you get better battery life in return, but it's not going to make a significant leap. But every little change counts. So I applaud Intel and MSI working together to make sure that, is a priority. All right, so y'all already know with these new NPU driver updates, I love to test games. I love to see what's running well, what changes were made as far as FPS. Do I see a slight improvement visually as well? So, without further ado, we're going to test Space Marine 2 today just to see how it runs, see if I see any significant changes. And then we'll, in the video, and we'll recap. All right, so let's get straight to it. All right, so we got Space Marine 2 here. So I'm in the settings. So real quick, let me just show you what I have currently. So I have everything set to low at 800p. I have everything set to, as far as render resolution balance, everything low. The only thing that I have high is the, medium is the textures, right? But we're going to turn frame generation on because I want you all to see what kind of performance I get. But everything else is set to low, as you can see. FPS is set to unlimited. But yeah, I want you all to see that. As you can see, again, texture resolution set to low. Now let's go back to the game, and keep in mind, frame gen is off, right? So let's take a look and see what kind of performance we get. All right, so pay attention in the top left corner where my FPS is. On the overlay, I'm getting, right, 50, 68 frames per second. Now, this will fluctuate depending on what's going on, what kind of enemies I'm facing, etc. But I just wanted you to get like a general understanding of what kind of performance you'll get on this device without frame generation. Now, like I said, it will go up and down. I have it set to 800p. I'm sure if I turn the texture resolution down to low, I probably would get more FPS. But yeah, remember guys, this is just a handheld, not like a dedicated GPU. So the performance is going to be, up and down. But for the most part, I say this is playable without frame generation. So let's take a look what it looks like with frame generation enabled. All right, same settings, but frame generation enabled. So if you could take a look in the top left corner, I'm getting higher FPS. This is with FSR. I don't use TAA. As you can see, I'm getting about almost 100 frames per second. Now, give or take, with frame generation, it is going to fluctuate up and down. You might get 60, you might get 85, you might get 100, but that just depends on what's going on the map, right? The more enemies on the map and the more that's going on, the more the FPS is going to drop. But this is extremely playable with frame generation. Everything low. Again, I'm sure if I set my textures to low, I'll get more FPS. but it gets no better than this, guys. So I just wanted to show you all this. So again, FSR, right, for my resolution, right? I have frame generation enabled, right? And everything else pretty much set to low. So this is the kind of performance you'll get. Again, if you ask me, this is extremely playable, looks good, and you know, I wouldn't have any other way. This is a handheld. Again, always remind yourself. So this is the best that, you know, you're going to be able to get. It gets no better than this. Well, all right, y'all. I appreciate y'all support. Again, please continue to like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. Again, as I stated in my previous video, I don't know if I stated in the beginning, once I reach 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. This is Straight to the Point Tech. More videos to come. I'm out. Again, like, share, subscribe. Peace.